Boy, you should know her name. Too focused, she focused on her. Girl, you should know her name. Up late, grinding hard, she's a star. It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. Don't you know her name? It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. Don't you know she's telling you will heal my body, only soothe my body. All in the soap, all in the soap. Give me one of it's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams. It's Paris, Miss Williams.
All right, everybody. Okay, come join in with the Saturn's information. Today, we're going to be speaking about a very important topic here. Definitely going into 2025. I have gotten a lot of good reactions towards the Saturn information. I also made a whole group of where you could see all the videos. We have the masterclass coming out January 18, 2025. So go check that out. That's definitely going to be on the website. You can hit this QR code to be able to tap in. We also have Patreon. Come join a family. Definitely, if you've been feeling like you need more support, we are very supported over there. It's a very sacred space. We are building and we are growing. We are striving. So I highly recommend that you go check that out. Okay. I have 2 Udemy courses on udemy.com. Go check that out. And you could go check out my Amazon. You could go to Amazon and get you a physical copy of this book, or you could wait because I just ordered some more and I'll be having some on the website so you could be able to time in. This is the book signing that is going to be happening in Atlanta, Stonecrest City, that is happening January 25th, 2025. So go check it out. And we just had our vision board workshop. Go check out the vision board workshop if you are interested here. So let's get straight into it here. When you guys see this, is exactly when you're supposed to. If you see it, you don't, that's cool. But today I would like to be speaking, definitely going into 2025, the importance of perception, okay, being perceived, how you perceive things, and how your perception could basically turn into a reaction, and depending on that is depending on what you get. Now, here's the thing, like, we don't want to go into 2025 with the energy of like looking like a fool, or even going into something here feeling like I don't know about you, but we're leaving all that shady shit in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I get this energy here where a lot of us is all on our perceptions. And I was reading something here on a few psychology books that I'm reading. And one of the things that I have written down is perception stimulates reaction. Reaction reinforces perception. Your consciousness is so powerful that it not only determines the emotional quality of your life, it evokes significant psychological responses. So to just speak on that, it's really on how we decide to go about our reaction to a situation here, right? And it's very important for us to also understand the powers of our perception and what we perceive as what you perceive, and how do you perceive others, and being able to kind of take yourself back. Not everything needs a response right then and there is what I'm getting as well. Like, some people have their own perception of life, you have yours, and you have to also respect the way that other people, you don't have to respect it, but just respect the fact that not everybody's going to see and perceive you the way that you perceive them. So here is some stuff that I would like to speak about. The objective is by the end of this lesson, you will understand how perception influences your reactions. Okay, the psychological and emotional effects of perception and the pros and cons of the dynamic process. Okay, perception is how we interpret and make sense of the world through our senses, thoughts, and beliefs. It is subjective and shaped by past experiences, emotions, and mindsets, right? And a last lesson that I did, I spoke about there's a study by biochemists reveals the brain isn't even capable of distinguishing the difference between reality and memory. So if you're telling me our perception is being stimulated by a memory, and it says right here, it's being interpreted by our reactions to our memories. And if we could be able to understand and decipher that, that means that we have the power to make a new perception. Reaction. Okay, reactions are the responses, emotional, behavior, psychological, that arises from perception of a situation. All right, like I said, just because someone else's perception of you or perception had it is their perception doesn't mean that that's your perception. It doesn't mean that you have to be projective of whatever it is that somebody else is doing, because that's their image, that is their mind, that is how they feel, and you can have your own thought in your mind and how you feel. Hands down. It's not a fucking it's not rocket science, okay? Connection. Perception directly stimulates our reactions. How we perceive an event determines how we respond emotionally and physically, right? So that's what I like about the perception, because depending on how you perceive it is how you're going to react from it, right? Let's talk about it emotionally. The positive and the negative aspects of perception and how it influences our reactions. The positive perception, when you view a situation positively, it evokes emotion of like happiness, hope, or peace. Negative perceptions, viewing a situation negative, can lead to emotions like fear, anger, sadness. Okay, now let's look at it in a psychology way. Positive perception triggers a parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest mode, promoting relaxation, well-being. Negative perception activates the sympathetic nerve system, fight or flight mode, causing stress, increased heart rate, and heightened cortisol levels. The power of our consciousness. Your consciousness, awareness, and thought patterns determines how you perceive situations. A single event can evoke an entirely different reaction in two people based on the individual consciousness. An example, a public speaking opportunity might be seen as thrilling by one person and terrifying by another, right? By shifting our perceptions, you can change your emotional and physical reactions, leading to be another outcome. Okay. Example, viewing challenges as opportunities to foster resilience, right? Now, here this is the biggest 2024 thing that I've noticed a lot of people are very, very sensitive about. They're sensitive about how people perceive them, and not only how they perceive them, but how can change in how it changes the physical reactions of a situation. Some people take the perceptions of how other people make them feel, and what happens is that they change everything and it goes right back to the memory of however they had before prior. Or you can see this by shifting your perception of this change of your emotional and physical reaction, and you could decide to lead into a better situation. Not everything needs to go back to how it used to be, how you used to react. It is what it is. Viewing challenges as opportunities to foster resilience, right? So looking at these opportunities, even if it makes you feel challenged in a certain type of way, It brings up a sense of having to be more powerful in a situation here, having resilience, right? The positive perception, learning, and personal development. When you decide to take this challenge as an opportunity to foster resilience, you also understand the importance of how you feel and how it makes you, what you need to work on. When you start to feel irritated, if you start to feel like something here is bringing something out of you that you don't like, don't just move on that first reaction. That's what I'm saying on the perception part. You need to understand and harness why you're feeling this way. You get what I'm saying? And so what happens is that it becomes more, you start to understand your personal development, right? And then when we think about personal development, you also have to understand, where is your mind in this situation here? The health benefits of like really being able to challenge an opportunity to foster into resilience, it has more of optimistic perceptions. It reduces stress. All right. It promotes mental and physical health. All right. So not only is this helping you physically, but it's helping you emotionally as well. The cons: distorted perceptions, negative or biased perceptions can lead to unnecessary stress or poor decisions. Okay, and we're leaving all that poor decisions in 2024, right? Example: interpreting constructive criticism as an attack may cause conflict. How many of us, have, I'm going to write that down as um one of the banners. I've came across a lot of us, even me, um, taking constructive criticism and using in kind of thinking that it's an attack, and it's really not. It doesn't matter how old you are, because unfortunately I've met a lot of older people that do this shit too. All right, let me write that down. Interpreting interpreting constructive criticism and as an attack may cause conflict. Okay, now one thing I noticed about, unfortunately, the where we're at now in the society is that anything that seems like it goes against the person's perception, this is why I'm making this, right? Anything that goes against your perception, anything that goes against how you feel, people usually take this as an attack. Then that attack causes conflict. But see, a lot of the times people are not even, they're not listening to what they're saying. They want you to hurry up and shut up so they could be able to react to whatever it is that you're saying. Definitely, if whatever this is that you're saying that is conflicting to that other person because their own perception is triggering them. But see, the positive part of that is being able to see a challenge as an opportunity to foster resilience in a situation. Here's the difference, right? I'm gonna pull this up on ChatGPT. The difference between and listening to a response and being able to hear the response. And listen, we all have went through this prior. My question to chat was, what's the traits of someone that is listening to respond and hearing from your response when you are interpreting constructive criticism, right? Because we're on the cons of that. It says, when interpreting constructive criticism, the difference between listening to respond and hearing understanding lies in the mindset and behavior to the listener. Here is what we see. Defensive mindset, right? The person is focused on forming a reply rather than fully understanding. And I'm going to have to do a whole different lecture. Let me write that down. Listening to response and hearing to understand. Most people nowadays are so used to listening to respond, and they think that they're hearing to understand, but there's two different things. If you're hearing what I'm saying when it comes down to something constructive, then you're going to take a minute before you answer me. But if you're instantly taking this as a response to go off of some type of perception of whatever it is that's going on in your mind from a situation prior to me, then you're going to take this as I am trying to attack you. Defensive mindset quickly becomes defensive or tries to justify their actions. Example, but I only did that because, without fully processing the feedback. Interrupts often, cuts off the speaker to provide their point of view or refute the criticism, focuses on ego, feels personally attacked, even if the feedback is constructive. Selective hearing. Picks out a specific word or phrase to focus on instead of the overall message. Quick rebuttals. Prioritize preparing a counter argument over understanding the feedback. Reacts impulsively based on emotions like anger, frustrations, embarrassments. And I want to put passive aggressiveness as well, because that's definitely a part of it. Traits of someone that is hearing you to understand. This person is focused on genuinely understanding the feedback and improving themselves. Approaches the feedback with curiosity and the willingness to learn. Can you explain that further? Active listening gives the speaker full attention using body language like nodding or maintaining eye contact. Seeks clarity, asks thoughtful questions to ensure they fully grasp the criticism. Detaches from ego, views the feedback as a tool for growth further than a personal attack. Pauses before responding. That's the biggest one. If I just wrote you, or if I just said something here and you have an instant response, that means that you're not listening. You're listening to respond. You're listening to respond. You're not listening to understand. Takes the time to process the information before replying. This shows that they are prioritizing understanding over reacting. Grateful and reflective. Thanks the person for their input and reflects on how to implement it. Thank you for pointing that out. I'll work on it. Those are the type of words that's how you know that someone here is taking the criticism. How to shift from listening to respond to hearing to understand. Practice active listening. Focus on entirely on the speaker without planning your response. Control your emotional reactions. Take a deep breath to pause any defensive feelings. Reflect before responding. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this feedback? Seek clarification. If something is unclear, ask questions rather than assuming. Okay? Now let's get back to the main thing. I had to break that down, right? Because when you think about someone here that feels attacked, they usually just listen to response. Definitely if something here is different from what they're used to. And we all do this. It's perfectly fine. But once you start to realize that, then you could be able to see it in the near future. Emotional overload. Misinterpretation of events can trigger strong emotional reactions that spiral out of control. Psychologically, chronic negative perceptions can result to long-term health issues such as anxiety or heart problems. Usually people who have these type of problems or challenges, not problems, usually suffer from heart problems. Okay. Very interesting, right? So people who have heart palpitations and stuff like that, this is long term. This is something here that they have. It's called chronic negative perceptions. Yes, that's a psychological term. Hey Alba, what's up, honey? Practical applications, managing perceptions to control reactions, awareness. Reflect on how you perceive situations. Ask yourself, am I viewing this accurately through the bias lens? What emotions or assumptions are shaping my perception? Reframing. Shift your perspective to one that empowers you. Example, instead of thinking I failed, reframe as I learned how that didn't work. In this day and age, a lot of people we're in that era of like, definitely if you are a person that is a public figure or whatever the case may be, you notice that a lot of people who have that type of ego complex is usually ones that always get the admiration, or this is very psychological. So even if it's more on the outside energy, it shows a lot about the person inside because they're not able to even reflect on that. They're listening to respond and they're taking your criticism as an attack. Then that means you're not listening. So one of the things that I would like to speak about is you need to be able to observe and see things from awareness. The brain can't distinguish between present events and past memories. So a lot of the times, a lot of us are going off of a past memory than more than what's going on right now. So if somebody here tells you something here, right? Let's say I say, hey, Alba, you're in a chat. I'm like, Alba, I think that you should do this for this. And then you take it as if you're taking what I'm saying the wrong way because maybe there is some, first of all, you're not listening to me, because if you just was able to see what I'm saying and like it said, hearing me out to understand, then more or less trying to listen to response, then you will understand maybe Paris is trying to give me some suggestions so I can move forward. Definitely depending on the person that you're getting the advice from, or the person that's giving you self-criticism, then you could be able to do it. But a lot of people only go off of they instantly want to just, you're not listening. And that's a perception. Your perception is now making a reaction, and that reaction, like it says, causes two things: spiraling something out of control, emotions that get out of control. All right. And then it also is the attack mechanism, someone here feeling attacked, but then it goes into listening to response. Those right there is a whole different level. But if you're listening and you're a good listener, exactly. If you're a good listener, then you understand you're going to give it some time for me to reflect before I answer you. Now, some people might think that's passive aggressive because you didn't answer them right then and there. I believe Brother King Simon had spoke about that, but it's really not, because if you are a person that's listening, that means that you're going to take the time to make sure that you give the right answer and you're not speaking to respond. The positive part about this is being able to see this as a personal development. Not everything is being told to you to attack you. And if you are able to look at it and out of that perception of whatever it is that you're thinking, then you could be able to take it and run with it and see it as personal development. This is very psychological, and a lot of the times, like I said, it has a lot to do with what you have observed when you was younger, or something here that happened that didn't go your way. So now when somebody else does it, it triggers me. But see, it could be a positive or it could be a negative. You can either take it and spiral out of control, and then and then it has long-term health as far as anxiety and heart problems, or you could look at this as personal development and be like, all right, you know what, this person here said this. Let me just meditate on that before I respond. So I'm whatever the case may be, and then you could be able to move forward into your life. 9 times out of 10 to those people, also you give them personal development, because they have to now sit with themselves and see, like, damn, I moved out of impulse, and I didn't move with the right reaction. Now, some people might not ever see that, depending on how they grew up. Some people feel wrong and strong about it. They're in the ego. But 9 times out of 10, even in their mind, you're still thinking about their response to how they spoke to you. Definitely if it came out of with the right intentions. My perception is a difference. Exactly. I like that. The mirror effect. Ashe. Let's look that up real quick. I like that. Similar to like the butterfly effect as well. Let's see what this means. The mirror effect refers to the psychological phenomenon where the people reflect or project aspects of themselves, such as their emotion, behavior, traits, others. Often unconsciously, it happens in relationships, personality, interactions, projections, reflections. Okay. In relationships, we tend to reflect each other energy or behavior. This means someone might mirror your tone, emotions, or actions. All right. But even with that awareness trigger, it says the mirror effect can highlight qualities of behavior in ourselves that we might not be fully aware of. And then it goes back to the perceptions of it. Very psychological, that when we notice something in others that strongly affects us, it often points out something within us that needs attention. But see, people don't do that. The first thing that they want to do is actually go the opposite. They want to go and defend or feel attacked. And then that's when the second part comes out, where we start to spiral out of control. I like that. I'm gonna have to put that in. Thank you for that one. So just to wrap this up, right? This is not supposed to be that long, but this was just something to look into. It's very psychological, right? Because a lot of us don't know that we do this. We all have this within us, right? Where sometimes we could take a perception and make it into a negative reaction, where it should be a positive reaction if we take the time to just sit back and let it dissect. It's called personal development, right? If you look at any development card in tarot, is all the threes, right? So you have the Three of Swords, Three of Wands, you have the Empress, right? And the Three of Swords specifically speaks about character development. This is personal development, right? The Three of Swords could be a negative or it could be a positive. It's all on how you see that Three of Swords. You could see it as someone hurt me and I can react and spiral out of control, or I could look at this in a sense like, okay, this is character development. How do I grow from this? And it shows a lot about the reactions and how you respond to people, and being able to just be more balanced. That comes with also our bodies. If our bodies is unbalanced, if our base chakra, our root chakra is off, then anything that someone says, it's challenging you. It feels challenging, and you can't receive the message because you're too much in your ego, because you're imbalanced within yourself. Thank you so much, Alba. So to paraphrase everything, you guys, just take the time to really be able to look at the positive in perceptions of others and not just taking it as an attack. Okay, looking at the perceptions of not only others, but being able to see the connection in everything as well. Just like Just 10 has said, speaking about the mirror effect and how we are actually mirroring each other. So thank you so much for coming on and tapping in. Please come check us out for the rest of the week. But with that being said, I hope and I trust, not hope, I trust that this message goes a long way. And Happy New Year's. Much abundance for 2025 for all of us. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you, Alba. Thank you, Just 10, for popping in and being in tune with the conversation. And until next time, I'll speak to you guys later. Have a wonderful year.